remove the sump guard, you are going to need these tools. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, you're going to need a 13mm socket, a 10mm socket, a little extension bar, something you can use as an additional extension bar depending on, I can't remember whether I needed to use that or not, so it's there, but you probably don't need it. For this you do. A ratchet for those. We need to start underneath. You've got 4 bolts at the back, 2 of them are 13mm, 2 of them are 10mm. I'm having to think because this sump guard's been off more times than I care to think about, so I can't remember whether I've got the correct size bolts on, but I know I think you have 2 10mm bolts towards the centre on the back holding the plastic tray up, and then you've got 2 13mm bolts or 4 13mm bolts holding the aluminium part of the sump guard to the subframe. On the front you have 2 Phillips screws which holds the front of the bumper onto the sump guard, and either side of those you've got 2 13mm bolts holding the aluminium bit in. So those are what you need these tools for. So this is the first one. As you can see, I've got a bit of an oil leak, so this would be a 10mm. On mine it is a 13mm, so that's that one. And then we have the same on the other side. Round 2, but with a bit more room. I've put the ramps on, and I've also got a jack supporting on the subframe as well. If you're using ramps or axle stands and you've got a jack spare, or if you're using axle stands you've got a jack, use that jack somewhere secure as a backup in case one of the ramps drops. Right, next one is this bolt here. This is part of the billing mud run. From Muddy Weekender. So that is one of the side 13mm. You don't need your extension bar. You also don't want to undo this one entirely. You want to just slacken it to the very end of the thread. Right, that is pretty much at the end. Just tighten that up a little bit. Go to the other side. Do the same. FYI, the factory sump guard doesn't look a lot. It does do a good job of protecting your underbody. There we go. Now we are going to need the extension bar on, because we're going to do the front bolts. That I probably should have, but right, slide him in. Somebody used an Ugga Dugga gun to do this up and has created a new thread. Put it in, do them up. It's weird that hasn't dropped down yet. I assume it's just loads of mud and crap that's created a like a cement style mould. Right, so we're going to take those 2 back bolts out now, and it is now going to start becoming very lively. Make sure you support this with your hand. I've got an alarming amount of fluids coming out the bottom of this. I have a feeling it's about to reveal a lot of secrets. Right, so it will drop down and then shove it out of the way. Right, quite a bit. That is gear oil, engine oil. I imagine that is the IRD, because there's bloody nothing else there that can be, is there? That is oil, that's not coolant. And that is, yeah, that is my IRD. So the IRD, for those who don't know, that is your transfer box essentially. Not great. However, the garage told me I did have a leak on my crank seal, which is interesting I say that, because crank seal would surely pull up here at the bell housings of the gearbox, but I'm no expert. But I know that's the IRD, I know there's oil there, and I know they can leak. That'd explain my gear whining I've been whinging about. So I'd probably find that actually my gearbox is fine, because either it's ran out of oil and stopped leaking, or there's oil in it and it's fine. And that's what's causing my whine. Which isn't the end of the world, they're not a big deal to change. Well, certainly not on the TD4, but I've got the exhaust manifold, or the exhaust outlet on the way, but I'm sure it'll be fine.